There is a woman who lost everything she thought she needed, and that's exactly where she discovered who she truly is. Maybe you know that woman. Maybe you are her right now. The phone stopped ringing. The conversations died. The people you thought would stay walked away, one by one, in ways you never saw coming. And you were left in a silence that frightens you, not because it's empty, but because it's too deep to ignore. And in the middle of that silence, you started asking yourself, is something wrong with me? But what if the answer is the opposite of what you think? What if what looks like abandonment is actually the most intimate thing God has ever done for you? Because there's a kind of woman God has to take through the desert before he can take her to her destiny. And that desert is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the place where she stops looking to other people for what only God can give and discovers for the very first time that he was always enough. But before we get there, I need to talk about what that road actually feels like from the inside. It feels like loss. It feels like forced silence. It feels like watching other women move forward while you feel completely still. And the hardest part, it feels like there's no one to call when the night gets heavy. Here's what no one tells you about that moment. That emptiness is not the absence of God, it's the space he is clearing so he can truly inhabit it. In Genesis 16, we find Hagar, a woman who wasn't just abandoned, she was discarded, cast out, pregnant, with nothing. She was in a real desert, not a metaphorical one. Sitting beside a spring of water, too exhausted to keep going. And it was there, in that impossible place, that she heard something no one else in that moment could have said to her. God spoke to her, and she responded with one of the rarest statements in all of Scripture. She called God El-Roi, "You are the God who sees me," as it is written in Genesis 16:13. Not the God who saves the powerful, not the God of the blessed, the God who sees. She, a woman with no important name, no position, no one beside her, was seen by God in her most invisible moment. And that revelation changed everything. Not because her situation changed immediately, but because she discovered she was not alone in the way she thought. Neither are you. But there is something God needs to do in you during this time, and he cannot do it while you are always moving, always surrounded by noise, always filling the silence with distraction. The biggest lie that loneliness tells you is that it's permanent. That if you are alone right now, you will be alone forever. That the absence of people means the absence of God. But Psalm 34:18 says something that contradicts all of that. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Close, not distant, not waiting for you to recover before drawing near. Close, exactly in the moment when you are most broken. And here is the turn that changes everything about how you see this season. God does not draw near to a full heart. He draws near to an empty one. Because a heart full of other things has no room for him, and sometimes he allows those other things to empty out, not out of cruelty, but out of love. Because he knows you will never stop chasing what doesn't satisfy as long as you still believe it might be enough. The woman who learned to have God alone is not the woman who gave up on everything. She's the woman who discovered what has eternal value. Think about Hannah in 1 Samuel 1. She had been waiting for a child for years, a pain that, in the culture of her time, was carried as public shame. She was provoked, she was misunderstood, and Scripture says she wept and would not eat. The suffering was real, heavy, visible. But what Hannah did with that pain was what changed the course of history. She went to the temple, and she cried out to God so intensely that the priest thought she was drunk. She did not hide the pain. She did not pretend she was fine. She did not wait until she felt better to approach God. She poured everything out, every tear, every question, every night without an answer. And God saw her. What Hannah found at the temple was not first the son she had asked for. It was the presence of God in her pain. And that was what changed something inside her before anything around her changed. Scripture records that she left with her face transformed before the promise was fulfilled, before any visible evidence. That is what a real encounter with God does. He does not wait for the situation to change before giving you peace. He gives you peace in the middle of the situation, and that is what makes you able to keep going. But there is one part of this process that hurts in a very specific way, and I need to name it. It's the part where you realize how much you depended on other people to know who you are. While someone was beside you, you knew whether you were loved, whether you were enough, whether you were worth it. Their presence was your mirror, and when they left, the mirror broke, and you no longer knew what to look at. God allows that, not to destroy you, to rebuild what was built in the wrong place. Because an identity that depends on human approval is fragile by nature. It shifts with every change in relationship, with every disappointment, with every person who walks away. And God does not want you living in that fragility. He wants to root you in something that doesn't shift. Paul wrote in Philippians 4:11, a sentence that sounds simple but carries an enormous weight. I have learned, in whatever state I am, to be content. Learned. He was not born that way. It didn't come suddenly. It was taught through the process, through the moments when there was nothing external to hold on to, and God was still real. Contentment in God is not resignation. It's not pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It's something much deeper. It's the discovery that there is a level of peace that does not depend on circumstances, that there is a presence that does not disappear when the night comes, that there is a place inside you where God lives, and that place is untouchable. And the woman who discovers that place changes in a way no other experience could change her. She stops chasing connection out of desperation and starts moving toward connection by choice. She stops needing approval to take her next step. She stops being broken by what was never meant to hold her and begins to move by God's invitations, not by fear of abandonment. That doesn't mean she won't want companionship. It means she will no longer destroy herself over the absence of it. Now I need to speak directly to you. If you are in this season where people have left, where the silence weighs heavy, where you're wondering if God is still there, I want you to know something that goes beyond encouraging words. You were not abandoned. You were set apart. There is an enormous difference between those two things. Abandonment is when someone leaves and doesn't come back. Being set apart is when God pulls you away from the noise because there is something He wants to show you that you can only see in the silence. In Isaiah 43:1, there is a direct promise. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, you are mine. He called you by name, not by your title, not by your position, not by your relationship status, by your name. Which means He knows you, specifically, personally, entirely. And what He is doing in this season is not leaving you behind. He is preparing you to carry something you don't yet know you will carry. Every woman God used in a significant way in Scripture went through a period of invisibility before the visibility came. A time where it seemed like nothing was happening, but everything was being formed. Ask yourself honestly, what is God trying to build in me in this silence? Not what He is taking from you, what is He forming? Because when you come out of this season, you will come out different. Not just surviving, formed. The woman who learned to have God alone does not come out weak. She comes out rooted. And a rooted woman is not shaken the same way. She does not need the same things to remain standing. She does not lose herself when the ground shifts around her. This is not the end of your story. It is the most important chapter of it. And when God finally reveals what He was building during this time of silence, you will look back and understand why it was necessary. Not because the pain was good, but because what it produced could not have been born any other way. So if you are here today, with a heavy heart and the silence pressing in, let me leave you with a question that will stay with you after this video ends. What would be different in your life if you knew Not just believed, but knew that God is enough for you right now, exactly as you are. Write in the comments what that question stirred in you, because maybe the answer you've been looking for is already inside you, just waiting for this silence to be heard. If this message touched your heart, share it with the woman who needs to hear it today. And stay here, because the next message is going to talk about what God is building while you wait. God did not abandon you. He chose you for a depth that can only be reached in the silence. And that silence has a name. It's called preparation.